what I call an attitude of gratitude. It's just, you got to look around you. You got to be thankful for what you have. And a lot of these folks didn't have much to begin with. But what little they have, when you lose it, it's devastating. And some people, they handle it better than others. Now, there's a lot of folks over there that are religious. A lot of Roman Catholics there in Puerto Rico. A lot of them, their faith is going to get them through this. And that's a beautiful thing. And now I think it's the time, in big ways, to have the church stand up and do everything they can to be the light of Jesus in a world right now where it's turned upside down. As idiot David Meade, the numerologist, he's saying that this weekend that's the end of the world, and like I say, I've made mention of this before. It's crazy. It's one thing after another, and I am not going to dare ask. Okay, I'm going to ask it. What next? It just wow. Maybe this is the year. Hopefully next year we don't have all of this. All this devastation. I mean, Jesus, Texas and the Keys. It's crazy. And now we got Puerto Rico, and then all the islands, not to mention the poor folks in the Caribbean that literally there's nothing left of the islands over there. Besides the territory, Barbuda got hit one of the worst, but a lot of the British and U.S. islands out there just destroyed. They're committed to rebuilding it, but destroyed. So, I mean, wow, the billions and billions of dollars and the loss of life was just unbelievable. Here's a person that may be living up to maybe making their bucket list a reality in a very, very sick and demented way. And who am I talking about? Jessie Lorraine Gullin of Jonesboro, Arkansas. I'm looking at a headshot from the sheriff's office there, a mugshot of Jessie Lorraine Gullin. Why is that name important? She's a teacher. And this teacher was having sex with students until a parent exposed her. That's how Gullin, a 25-year-old former high school teacher from Jonesboro, Arkansas, confessed to having sex with 4 high school students, 2 of them, on the same night. Now, over the course of 4 months between January and April 2016, Gullin was she was talking to the students through text messages and turning the conversation increasingly sexual over time. Sometimes she would send suggestive pictures of herself to them. Finally, she would invite them to her apartment and sometimes even picking them up and taking them to her home for sex. On one occasion, she allegedly took a student who was enrolled in one of her classes to her apartment, had sex with him, and then dropped him back off at school. Now, a parent got wind of the inappropriate relationships and threatened bodily harm Gullin for having sex with students. And that's how the school found out in April 2016 and opened an investigation. And confronted with the exposure of her actions, Gullin tearfully confessed to school principal Matt Wright. Now she's facing 1 charge of first-degree sexual assault because one of the students had sex, was under 18 at the time. Now she could face doing this 10 to 40 years, or potentially even life in prison if she is convicted. Gullin said that she thought that student was 18 and only found out later that he was way younger than what he had told her, according to court documents. There is, or at least there used to be, a school of thought that it was easier to raise a teenager son than a daughter because of sexual pressures and advances of teenage girl can be faced with in high school. Jeez, folks. You have to actually tell your kids that you shouldn't be texting your teachers or receiving sexual explicit material. Unbelievable. She didn't have an inkling to think maybe this is a minor. Maybe I should look for some identification or something like this. But period, it's inappropriate for children to be having sex. Adults having sex with their students. And yes, at this point, children. I don't know, some of you sick freaks out there wouldn't mind it, but I think it's disgusting. It's inappropriate, folks. It's inappropriate. I mean, how do you have a teacher-student relationship when you cross that barrier? I mean, come on. In any relationship, you're friends with somebody or whatever, then you do that, you do the deed. It's completely different. It's just inappropriate. She should spend some time behind bars. I didn't know that he was your student, and there's got to be something in the book, a faculty book, if you're a teacher there, that says you're not supposed to fraternize with the students. Come on, for goodness sakes. What's wrong with people? I didn't know. If that would be a great excuse, Hillary Rotten Clinton, I don't rightly remember. I don't rightly know. Oh, I didn't know that you were a minor. I had no idea. There was a saying when I was in school, and I think people still say it, 16 will get you 20. Of course, some people can look much younger than they really are. And she should have definitely, if she wasn't using her head, she was thinking with other things. It's just demented. Unfortunately, this seems to be a prevailing thing that continues to happen across the country. You got to tell your kids to stay away, and because for one, it's embarrassing for the whole family, and it certainly will be a terrible thing if you have to drag your kid and you have to go through to court and have the national exposure. If it's not embarrassing enough to have it on television or in the newspaper there in your town. Can you imagine having that exposure, how embarrassed you would be? Have a talk with your kids and just tell them, if they're saying I have the hots for the teacher or the teacher I think has the hots for me, then just tell them, to tell the teacher it's inappropriate. I'm a minor. Kind of give them a little scare or something like that. Some kids, they have no fear. It's a fantasy or something like that with them. But I'm telling you, it's not a cool thing. And some of these, and it's not just women, but a lot of more women, for whatever reason, are coming out and doing this kind of thing, getting bolder and bolder. But it's the sect up society. But people have to take responsibility for themselves. She needs to spend some good time in prison thinking about what she did, and hopefully never, ever will do this again. Something happened to her to be able to do that. She's definitely, and just to think, she's teaching our kids. What has happened to the school system, folks?
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people, for the people, for the people is there.
It's unlike anything you've ever been through in your life, man. I was driving. This kid threw a grenade at us and went right over our vehicle. It was 12 years old.
The shockwave went through my head, rattled up my brain, and left.
Danger is around you 360 degrees at all times, and you can't unlearn that.
It's impossible to describe the sacrifices these men and women have made to protect our freedoms. And the job of rebuilding their lives is massive and growing every day. Many will need the programs offered by the Wounded Warrior Project for years to come.
I didn't know what PTSD was. All I knew is I was having nightmares. And when I got released, my reintegration was go check in at the VA, man.
My first coping mechanism was use drugs. Just numb it, don't feel anything.
I was angry. I'm trying to pull myself out of that right now.
Your gift today of $19 per month will honor and empower these veterans so they can aid and assist each other.
The Wounded Warrior Project is a life raft.
I can say this without question that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for it.
Women Wear Project is the first step, getting back out into the world and reforming yourself outside of the service.
Call or go online with a pledge of $19 a month. You'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket, and your gift will provide critically needed programs that rebuild lives.
That was my first feeling of actually being a part of something bigger than myself again.
Well, I lost a few really close friends overseas, and if I quit, I'm going to let them down, and I'm not about to do that.
I'm learning to face my fears head on, to trust and see what happens at the end.
It's a long process, but I had the drive and desire.
Please, call or go online with your gift right now.
For the people is there.
Here's a message to every rapist, domestic abuser, violent criminal thug, and every other monster who preys upon women. Maybe you've heard the stories about millions of us flocking to gun stores and gun ranges for the first time, the second time, and the 100th time. Here's what that means for despicable cowards like you. Your life expectancy just got shorter. Because there's a very good chance your next target will be armed, trained, and ready to exercise her right to choose her life over yours. This is what real empowerment looks like. Millions of American moms, grandmothers, and professional women taking our lives and our families' lives into our own capable hands. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
For the People has a special opportunity for you. If you own a business and want to gain a national audience that is loyal and will do business with you, imagine being able to get your product and or service into the hands of tens of thousands of people each week. Sponsorship opportunities are now available at rates you can afford. Finally, the show you love with your business supporting what we do in partnership. Start running your commercials today. To contact us, go to forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. It's Share-a-thon, and that means it's time to help For the People stay on the air. Your giving keeps the freedom of the air a possibility. For the People is listener-supported, and only by its listeners are we able to bring you all the news each and every day with common sense, along with a conservative point of view. Help us be a voice of reason in a troubled world and make a donation today at forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. It's your show, and we work hard to give you all the news and information that you need with commentary and insights you just don't get on the mainstream media. No fake news, just reality, so you can live your life in the know. Share-a-thon is your opportunity to get behind For the People. Give securely online at forthepeopleshow.com. It's Share-a-thon. Help For the People now at forthepeopleshow.com. Thanks for your support. All right, our website is open, forthepeopleshow.com. That is our website, by the way, if you didn't know, forthepeopleshow.com. Make a donation because it will make a difference in our country. And I know we're making a difference. I wake up each and every morning and I say to myself, how can we take a story and move it to the water cooler, yours specifically, to allow you to be engaged with things that matter, things to appreciate and understand, and be able to use this as talking points to better yourself and to better your world. A lot of shows won't say that, don't articulate that, but it comes from our heart here. Anybody that supports For the People, they're of like-mindedness, and if you find yourself one that really does care about America and cares about being engaged, this is the show that I recommend. I would never recommend something that I don't believe in, and I put together a broadcast for you to believe in, a broadcast that you can feel good about, one that you tune in and you will get something from it. I hate listening to shows that I find that I just did not learn anything, did not inspire me in any way, didn't move me anywhere. And I have some pretty tough customers, I gotta say. And even from them, they tell me they like listening to the show. They like my point of view, which I appreciate. I try to be as grounded as I